Okay, so it is 1:30 and I have to pick Gracie up at 3 o'clock, and I'll probably head over there a little early, so I just set my alarm to make sure I don't go overboard and forget to pick up the kid. So, yeah, figure if we're going to do this, might as well get rolling. Yeah, so, it's one of those days I woke up at it was like 4:30 and fed the dogs, and then just couldn't go back to sleep until like 6:30 or later. So another one of those. And I started sending myself messages like I do on my text messaging, so I don't have to turn an actual light on. I can just hit the buttons and send it to myself in sleep mode. But I started sending myself messages because I had like all these thoughts that were rolling through my head, and then it's like when I started the camera, it's like I don't really remember any of those things, but it was like stuff that I wanted to talk about. I know I have class tonight that I'm going to go to and kind of follow up on last week's stuff, being excited about all sorts of things, and I'm in a good mood. Just got done walking the dogs. Ziva is acting weird. I think she does not like it when we take the corgi with us on the walks. She, like, the past couple days, she's started going to the floor and kind of digging at the floor mat. It's like, this is different. And part of it I'm wondering is I gave her like these little chew stick things that were in the drawer, and I'm not so sure they're not maybe upsetting her belly a little bit, and maybe that's part of the problem. But she'd been kind of weird. So tomorrow I'm supposed to help a family friend with some yard work, so I'm gonna not give those to them tomorrow, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Kind of aggravating because it's like I'm going to be gone most of the day tomorrow, so I won't be around to know what's going on for sure with her. But I'm pretty confident, like between the corgi and possibly the chewy thing. I know she has liver issues, and I have to get some kind of supplement or something that she's supposed to be on. But I have not handled that yet. But it's on the agenda, so yeah. Yes, my sister-in-law is in the process of leaving today. Still not on the road yet, but I just called my brother to confirm that he does for sure want me to pick up the kid, because I figured I should make sure to have that answer before I start the video. And he said for sure yes. And they got the car as packed as they can, so yeah, and he's still got some running to do. He's supposed to go to Indianapolis today, and since she's still there, he hasn't got that going yet. But he wanted to take the truck since it's a more reliable vehicle. And since I was walking in the dogs, I'd rather have the other thing anyway. We might switch. So I have the truck when we go to Greenwood tonight. But I guess we'll see. I mean, worst comes to worst, if I get stranded somewhere, he'd just have to come pick me up. So, but he would. So there's that. Pond's making weird noises. It's running low on water again. It's like 80 today, and it's freaking fabulous. I did have a long sleeve shirt on under this. I'll probably put it back on before I go to class. But check out the shirt. I love it so much. And my earrings. Found these on Etsy. Disappointments, all of you. Jesus. So, yeah. Oh, one thing I was going to mention yesterday, completely spaced it. My cousin that I took to get his cast off yesterday. At least I don't think I mentioned it. We were talking on the way over to the hospital where his appointment was, and he said something about being over eager on getting back into the gym and getting back into shape for something specific, and wasn't being mindful of his diet, and that's why he passed out and ended up breaking his leg. And he said he was trying to push it too hard and it went against him. So I mentioned that I've never broken a bone in my life. And he said, I had to confirm this morning. It's like, what did you say specifically? Because it's like, I know, like I have the idea, and yet for some reason it's like not reloading, if you will. But he said he's always heard that if you've never broken a bone, it's because you have, or this life is going to be like especially difficult emotionally and socially speaking. I was like, well, I mean, I feel like that's a firm yes. But he sent me this little TikTok video that was kind of talking about it. And it's like, that's like all of those things, that's tracking. It's talked about suffering and something about because you're taking on an extreme amount of emotional and, was it psychological? I think so. Psychological suffering in this lifetime. You're given a stronger frame to be able to, well, I mean, basically, to be able to hold that, and also not to distract you from, if you were being physically broken all the time. So yeah, it's like, that's an interesting point. And then there's another one that was talking about divine protection. Like if you have a specific mission that you are here for in this lifetime. And then also connection to the ancestors was one, and then something about past lives, but I don't know, like when I read through it, it's like at least these three things very much so, but really I could see them all and they all go together. So it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where we're at because I've never broken a bone in my life. And I think it's kind of interesting, like it is impressive from the standpoint of when I was little, I used to be a bit of a daredevil and would like climb up furniture and jump off. And my mom said that like they always had to be on their toes because if I said catch me, I was already in the air when I said that. And she said at one point I pulled this big chest of drawers over on me and managed to fall off to the side and didn't get broken. But yeah, I was a little bit of a daredevil. I think when I was like 6 or so, my brother had this bunk bed, and we would put all like the pillows and blankets we could find on the floor and or on the bed underneath it, and kind of jump off into it. And one time I got my arm hung up on the top bunk and probably should have broken, but didn't. Yeah. So it was just kind of an interesting point. But whatever. I mean, on the other end of things, I mean, based on like the whole purpose of my channel, this whole healing thing that I've been doing, I'd say that tracks really well because that's been my focus here, right? Yeah. My mom's friend called me last night to get a better story of what's going on with my mom, like as far as her having broken her arm and all this stuff. And I guess she's been kind of sketchy on the information she's passing along, and the friend didn't really get what she was talking about, and so she called me, and I said, well, or she said something about, she said she broke her arm, but then went ahead and went to Tennessee, and she was really confused because she's supposed, or the friend was confused because my mom says she's supposed to have surgery on the arm, and yet she still went to Tennessee. It's like, yeah, she did that. It's like, she did go to the, or she said something about without pain meds and all that stuff. It's like, well, she did go to the ER, so I'm pretty sure they probably gave her something on that end. And aside from that, stop. Taz, thank you. Aside from that, it's like she's got her own little stash from like past surgeries she's had that she didn't take all the pills for, but she hung on to them in case she needed or had something else come up. So it's like one of those, this would fall into that something else came up kind of category if they didn't give her something. But yeah, so I'm sure they did though. But yeah, so the friend was, or I was talking to the friend, there was 11:11, and she was talking, or she said she's having a real hard time just keeping up with what's going on. It's like, well, I said, I was outside when she did that. I said she did do a face plant in the pavement, apparently, after busting her chin on my brother's back as she was in the process of going down. And her chin's massive. But it's like, aside from that, it's like, I know she went to the ER. I don't really know specifically what they said, and she's kind of sketchy on details. Really, like, that's there's no other way around it. That's just, she's sketchy on details. But yeah, just a friend was like, well, you're not really good on information anymore these days, are you? And I was like, yeah, I said we're working on that distancing thing, and it's time for me to be ready to move on, and I'm very ready to move on. I just haven't got the pieces lined up just yet to get me out of here. And she said, well, just hang on until after May, because I told her I'd help pet sit her dog. She and her husband will be going out of town for a few days, and since I can't stay all night over there with him, her niece is going to spend the night at their house, and then, you know, be there with him overnight, potty him in the morning and at bedtime and all that. But the stuff during the day when the niece is at her jobs, then I'll go feed him and deal with his insulin and all that fun stuff, because he's an older dog and diabetic. So I'll be doing that. So she's just like, as long as it's after that. It's like, well, so far I think we're good because there's nothing specific lined up just yet. I said, but I feel like it is in the works. So and then she sent me a message before she called me to have me and her husband in the same conversation, so she didn't have to be in the middle of everything, because I'm supposed to help him with some yard work this week. And I said, well, I've had lots of little odds and ends going on at the start of the week. I said, and today I have a class I want to go to tonight and kind of would like to be good and awake and not wiped out for. So I said I was planning on going over there on Thursday, so he was good with that. I said maybe Friday, but he said he thinks it's supposed to rain on Friday, so hopefully we'll just get everything done tomorrow. But if not, there's next week. Either way, we'll get it knocked out and then have it done. But he's kind of... We've known their family for about forever. They moved to where they're currently at when I was getting ready to go into second grade. And their daughter is a year ahead of me in school, but she's only 6 months older than me. But my mom used to babysit her, and she was one of my best friends. But we had some rough points along the way, and it was usually honestly, it was me being a brat, but I was being a brat because of everything else that was going wrong in my life, and like she didn't deserve it, but because I was, I guess, frustrated with everything that was going on against me in my life, I kind of took it out on her because she was the one that tried to be a friend. But yeah, like we were, for the most part, she was my best friend for several years. But like the last time I was around her, like she does mission work in Africa now. She's like a nurse practitioner. So she's kind of got an actual life and doing things, doing big things with her life. And my life is just, here I am, 41 and back with my parents and haven't made it out yet. But the part nobody knows about is the YouTube thing, which, I mean, anybody that finds this knows about it. But other than that, like people in my world, that's me. My brother, my aunt, and my one cousin, like those are it. And I debated on mentioning it to the other cousin yesterday, but then I didn't. And honestly, I don't think it would be an issue per se. It was just one of those things. It's like, he really just doesn't give a shit. He was very, it was like, as far as the conversation went, he was mainly just, he talks. He doesn't really listen, and he doesn't really ask questions. Like, you can insert stuff along the way and he'll say something about it and then go back to whatever he was talking about. But it's like he has to dominate the conversation just to avoid the silence or anything, or avoid taking a chance that somebody might want to talk to him about something else or whatever. I don't know. So it's just like, no. We'll just leave that one out. So I just watched a thing on Instagram. I think it was the alchemist that had this little thing talking about the past timeline dissolving and the new timeline is working on forming, but it's not here yet. It's like, yep, I'm right there. It's like, that's my whole life. It's like, don't feel like you resonate with any of the old connections and all this stuff. It's like, yep, that's it. The family friend. Last year, I weeded the flower beds around their house, and I'd done it the year before too. And when I did it last year, okay, he's kind of weird, and he doesn't really sit right with me anymore. And it's not because he's a bad person or anything. It's just, okay, when I got my lip ring, right, lip ring and nose rings, that was August 2023. And, it was the one where I set the intention that I would never again work in a job that asked me to be anything less than 100% who I am, right? So they showed up the next day after I gotten my lip and my nose pierced. And it's kind of this weird, I don't even know how to explain it, like feeling the energy from people. And I don't know if I actually heard their conversation as they were backing out of the driveway. I feel like I felt it more than anything. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just, I'm at the point in my life where I'm okay with sounding crazy, and not knowing exactly how I've picked up on information and yet being very confident of the information. But he had made some kind of comment to his wife about, why would you do that, kind of a thing, like as far as getting the lip pierced, the nose pierced. And my lip was swollen as hell, so there's that. But But yeah, just kind of trash talking the situation as he backed out of the driveway, I guess. And it was so weird because it felt like I was hearing the conversation, but they were far enough away that it doesn't make sense. I mean, look, it's not a huge driveway. It was back there where the trash cans were, so they're a little, they're about at that point backing out. And it's like I was up on the sidewalk, and yet I received the conversation clear as day, and it's like, I feel like this is how I've gotten a lot of information over the years. It's like it comes to me and I hear it through feeling it. It's all these damn cancer placements, I swear. But like, it makes perfect sense though, because I feel like I've known information about people before I've actually received the information about people. Like with my ex, of course, I was informed that his dad had bailed when it was a combination of bailed and got kicked out. His mom it was a very bad situation, and she had the one kid and she was pregnant with the other kid, and her sisters, she's one of 7, she's like number 5 in line, I think. Her sisters, the older ones, had to talk her out of aborting the second son because she didn't want him, because she was trying to get rid of the husband, right? She didn't want him in her life. And then she was pregnant with this other kid, and, they talked her out of it and said that, that she wouldn't be happy if she did that. And, she ended up keeping him. And like I've said before, like he was ultimately, I think, the bigger reason that I was in the relationship with my ex, was to help him, because of shit he got stuck with because of his brother. But yeah, it's like, first off, like just having that information, like knowing that your mom wanted to abort you, and, living your life with that. When I met him, it was a while before he even spoke to me, and like he tried to avoid looking at me, and he was living with his parents at that point in time and would lock himself in his room and just playing video games all the time. And then, of course, when the shit went all over the place with my former stepson, he ended up moving in with his mom's oldest sister, I think. And that was a good thing for all of them, because she said that if she was more than happy to have him living there, but he was going to help. And, he had like various things that were his job specifically while he was there. And he was like more than happy to help on everything. Whereas like with the other two, when he was living with his parents, it's like, firstly, I think the mom was 5th in line of 7. Or was it 6th? 5th or 6th. She was way down there. And I think it was 6, actually. And the dad was, the adopted dad, was middle of 3, but also kind of abusive and very swayed by the Catholic upbringing that he had. And he went to Catholic school, and he was always talking about getting rulers banged on his knuckles and all sorts of stuff. And he always talked like he hated the whole experience, and yet at the same time sounds like he was a little led by the experience on the parenting end, which the boys he adopted And then the daughter was biologically his, but she came like 10 years later. So yeah, but just, I don't know. And that started because of hearing conversations. That doesn't make sense that I'm hearing, right? But yeah, I just don't even know how to like really explain that one any better and in a way that sounds any less crazy. Like I feel like I don't know. In class last week, we were talking about clairaudience and hearing things through songs, and she just looked at me and said, "You definitely do." It's like, oh yeah. It's like, and I said, I made the connection in the past couple years that, you know, when the bullying started when I was 8, there was a song that I absolutely loved, and it was especially this one line in the song. It's Mr. Biggs to Be With You. And the line is, "Wake up, who cares about little boys that talk too much?" And I said that always felt like it was for me. And the funniest part of it was when I was listening to that in the past, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years or so, I made the connection that it apparently came out in 1991, which is when I turned 8 and when all this bullying stuff was going on. So it's like, that just feels like it was divine timing that, you know, these guys have this idea for a song and put this line in the song. And, you know, I know there's a ton of women and girls along the way who that can probably take some kind of piece in that kind of line. But yeah, like it was, I loved that song. I still love that song. I have always loved that song, and you know, especially because of that line. But it's like I've always been hearing, apparently that's literally how clairaudience works, is you, like, it can be as easy as a line in a song. And I've had like weird experiences where used to I could hear a song on the radio for the first time, and it's like I was able to pick up on the words as I was hearing it for the first time. Like I already knew what they were. It's like, how does that work? So that's a whole weird little thing too. But yeah, like apparently that's just it. Yeah, okay. That's part of what I was thinking of this morning, the visions aspect of it. So clairvoyance. So when you see things. And like when I was starting with the classes at Inner Path back in 2024 is when I started taking the classes. I looked into them in 2020 and almost started at the end of that year. And it was like very end of December, very beginning of January 2021. I looked at them and thought about it, but talked myself out of it just because I wasn't really ready to socialize with people, I guess. So I didn't do it. But when I started last year, you know, I talked about like the classes with Lanita, and then I was learning about, or she said one of the first things she does is check in with a new student's guides to see what specifically they need help with and would benefit the most learning from. And she said my clairsentience is good. Claircognizance needs a little bit of work, and it's just because trusting the intuition thing, right? And the funny thing about that was I had retired roller derby in November, and I was going around and around about if I was really set on the retiring thing because it had been fun and I was enjoying this thing, but I really felt like it was just time for me to disconnect from it and work on other stuff, right? work on the healing stuff, focus on the healing. And I went to one of Annie's classes first, and she got all excited because I was talking about having played roller derby. So she talked about somebody else that that had been in the class at one point that had played roller derby, and was all excited about it. And then I was like, yeah, I just retired. But then it's like that little bit made me like second guess myself. And then I had that night after I had the conversation with Annie, where I was thinking, it's like, okay, if it's okay for me to go back to roller derby and I don't have to be retired, then these little things are going to happen, right? And one of them was the one roller derby friend that I had most connected to starting out. She'd been there for like 10 years or so since back when it started, I guess. And it's like there were several of the new skaters. It's like she just like took to us immediately and just started talking to us and including us. And it's like she was one that felt like she wanted us there, kind of a thing. But it was like she was one of the few people that I talked to most consistently. And I think the only reason that's fallen off, sent me a message once since January. In January, I dumped a bunch of people off of my Facebook friends, and she was one of them because she always goes, okay, she is like 3 months older than my mom's youngest sister, and she always had an inclination for the negative on, conversation points, and like she had issues with her mom and she wasn't setting boundaries and all this stuff. And it was just kind of when we disconnected, it was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna like cut all of this, and dropped her off the friends list too. And it wasn't anything personal, it was just it didn't feel like it was aligned with where I was and where it was going anymore. So just disconnect. But I didn't say anything about it or whatever, because I don't think most people do when they unfriend somebody. But yeah, I think she has since figured out that I did that and hasn't said anymore. But yeah, it's just, I feel like there's just so many of those connections that it's just kind of like outgrown. Like it was a necessary part of my life to give me space to try on other aspects of my personality, because before then it was just, I was always around my family, and like that's the only reference point that I had. So then I end up friends with this group of people where it was safe to try on different aspects of who I was and wanted to be, really. Yeah. But then it got to a point where it's like, this too only goes so far. And like, I felt retiring was what I was supposed to do from derby because of that pendulum thing. It's like, I was raised on one side of the thing, and then, I swing to the other side, with this other group of people. But then it's like, neither one of those works completely. So, I just disconnected, and I've been kind of doing my own thing, and hoping for the best for it, I guess. I don't know. Back to Inner Path, the claircognizance bit. She said I needed to work on trusting my intuition, and it was literally because it was that easy. Like Annie said, "Oh, this is really cool that you do this," and it's like, well, I don't do this anymore, But then I was like second guessing my decision because somebody else had talked about it like it was really cool, and I got really distracted because I saw this color green in my stack, and you can't really tell it's green there, but it's green. It's like sea foam. I was like, what is that? I don't remember having a shirt that color. Oh, I do have a shirt that color. It's a turtle, I remember. I wore it the other day when I went skating. But yeah. So she said I need to work on the claircognizance, and like boundaries were the biggest thing, and not being so easily swayed by everything else that's going on in the world around me. It's like, okay, yeah, it makes more sense. But I mean, as I've been continuing to live this path, the clairvoyance aspect of it, it's like I've had these things that have come up along the way, but I've never really trusted them, I guess. And after I started taking the classes that week, like I had this vision of a tree that was growing really tall, but the roots weren't deep enough, and it like just fell over. And it's like, I'm the tree. It's like I'm reaching up on like all the spiritual side of stuff, but it's like, as far as being rooted into the earth and into my body and all this stuff, it's like, yeah, I'm lacking there. So, you know, that ended up becoming more of a priority, more of a focus, trying to figure out that, navigate that situation. But I didn't, it's like, I've always sensed these things, but then, like, okay, when I was in 6th grade, okay, like before that, in elementary school, I had like all these little posters hung up all around my room from like, like Teen Bop, Tiger Beat, all those, whatever the hell those magazines were back then. You know, all those little kiddie magazines that I loved. I had all these posters on my walls. And okay, I've talked about inviting the demons in. The first thing that happened on that end was I got this really strong sense of everything was just staring at me. And then it's like I had to like completely strip everything off of the walls because I couldn't handle it anymore. It freaked me out having like all these eyes just staring at me all the time. It's like, not okay with this at all. So all those went in the trash. And then I had, you know, which this too even makes sense with the clairvoyance part of it. I had this night where I want to say it was my senior year in high school. I had fallen asleep on my futon. I had a futon bunk bed, and I was on the futon, and I had like a couple little posters that had like animals. One of them had like a gorilla in the thinking man pose, and it said, "Is it Friday yet?" And that was hanging where I could see it when I was on this futon, right? And it was it was under this window or by it, something. But you know, we got the street light out there. Well, you can't really see it, but it's up there. And that got put in, I think, when I was in elementary school, because we had a couple times where there was somebody creeping around the house, and so we put a big light at the end of the driveway and kind of brought that to a close. But yeah, so I had fallen asleep in the evening, and this curtain was still open, and the light that light was the only light that was coming in the room. And, you know, I was laying there trying to let my eyes adjust, and I look at this poster at the end, like God, I don't remember it being right up against the wall at that point, but it was up against one of these walls. So, like, that's the only way it makes sense. But I started looking at this poster, and it felt like there was an image in front of the image. And as I'm looking at it, trying to figure this out, it turns and looks at me, and it's kind of like a Grim Reaper type figure, and it's just kind of like, ha! You know, so it's like this big, terrifying thing. And then I was like, kind of, you know, obviously I turned my light on pretty quick after that, but it's still just the whole thing. It was like, okay, I wouldn't have, I guess, put that together as that's a element of, that's an element of clairvoyance until recently, you know, and then, you know, that, the deal with the tree, being able to see that, like, that's the first time I think I really, and I don't think it even registered that that was a clairvoyance thing at that point in time. But then, you know, I talked the other day about how I kind of, you know, it was like my inner child, like I saw my inner child with my aunt's inner child, and we were talking about something, and we're both really excited for me because she knew that whatever was happening for me, she was happy for me and looking forward to it for me, but at the same time knowing that that wasn't for her life in this lifetime either. So it's like, even that is an aspect of it. What was the one? Oh, okay. So I talked about having the thing on Monday, talking to the dude. So after that was over, I had this little vision where it's like I saw each of the YouTube videos that I've done as a half petal of this lotus flower, you know, so it's like one video is like one side of the of the petal, and like another video is another side, and it's like I was at the center of this flower, and like all the videos were all like these different parts of the petals. It was like, that's the whole thing. That's kind of interesting. So I've been kind of sitting with that the past few days, and there's my twos. You know, that's one of those things. It's like, I really want to go to class tonight because I really want to talk about like all this other stuff that's still going on. It's like, you know, Monday I was seeing all the, like, it was an overabundance of synchronicities. It's like, I don't know how to really, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know, but like, just that day, it's like the Everything.aligns page. Like, I saw one of their posts and it had 22.2 thousand likes. Then I saw another post that also had 22.2 thousand likes, but that one I accidentally clicked the thing to bring up how many likes exactly it had, and it had 22,222 likes. It's like, and 270,333 views. It's like, I accidentally clicked into it, but it was very much meant for me to see it, because otherwise that whole thing wouldn't have happened. And it happened because, like, I think it didn't quite drop my phone, but I kind of like fumbled it and accidentally hit something that brought that up, because otherwise that's not something I normally go into. It's like, ooh, how many likes exactly? So it's just kind of like, yeah, that was specifically for me. But yeah, like I've had other things kind of like that, and I never would have imagined that it was part of this clairvoyance thing. You know, like when I was working at the group home, you know, when I first started out and was living here and working there, and I think I was working the night shift and going out to my car, which normally is parked under that light. At one point on one of my night shifts, when I was leaving the house to go, you know, it's completely dark, and I am walking out to the car, and I see this, like, it was almost like a muddy sort of figure, and it was just like dripping mud. And it's like, I was aware of it without visually seeing it. Like, it wasn't actually physically there, and yet there was something there, and it was just like, in my mind's eye, I see this like muddy dripping thing that's standing by the side of the house and just watching me, and it's like, yo. So yeah, just the whole thing. Going back to the family friend that, you know, I mentioned the lip ring thing, and hearing the conversation as they were backing out of the driveway. And last year when I helped them, you know, after I was done, he came out and made a crack about, we should adopt you or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, right, you couldn't handle me. Like, I didn't say it, but that was literally what I was thinking. I was like, my own family can't handle me. And 555. You know, it's like one of those things. It's like, I've just come to terms with it now, but it's just so weird to be in this space of like all the old stuff is falling away, but the new's not here just yet. You know, I kind of feel like that's part of like what Monday was to show me, was that there's this highest timeline where all these things are one way, and I am certain that those things will find their way into my life, but it's like being in this little liminal space, I guess, where it's, the old's not completely gone, but the new's not completely here either. So it's like, what do you do with this? It's like, I don't know how to exist in this space. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish I didn't set my alarm, because, see, it's almost 2:20. I don't know. Can I do that? Ooh. I did. Yay! I shut my alarm off without shutting the video off. Sweet. Okay. It just had, like, I pulled the window down and it said, turn alarm off for the day. It's like, yes, hit the button. And yes, we still got video count time, so yay! I think I'm going to pause this, run to the bathroom, and go ahead and drive down to the school, since it's like 2 minutes to get there, and then go ahead and continue this. So, yeah, hold that thought. Okay, I just want to say, so far so good. I am going to leave now, but I wanted to make sure I clicked into this again before I go, so my phone doesn't like randomly kill the video before I'm done. So, have fun. Anyway, pause again. Maybe. I got stopped. I mean, it's construction, but, oh, now we're moving. Okay, hold on. And we made it. So I am over at the school now, and I'm gonna get rid of that. I got hung up. Like, I pull out onto the road and go down, like, to in front of the house across from my grandmother's house, and there's a whole line of people stopped because of the construction. The guy was backing dirt across the road, so I had to wait there for a minute. So I almost got a chance to talk a little bit further, but then we started moving, like, almost as soon as I got the video going. It was kind of funny. I noticed as I was getting ready to start the video that it was at like 2:22 on the clock, and the car in front of me had 911 on the license plate, which is apparently like some sort of light worker activation number. So there's a fun random little thing. Guess I don't need the seatbelt on if I'm just going to sit here. So yeah, rolled the back window up a little bit so they don't see me just talking to myself. I mean, not that it really matters, but it's what it is. I was hoping to be a little further up so it wouldn't be it wouldn't really be a thing, but I'm like right at the corner, going into the final stretch. So what was I talking about? Yeah, like old connections falling away, I guess. Like that was the thing last year. It's like that guy said that, or he made the joke about we should adopt you or something. It's like we all know that's that would never have happened in a million years, and if it had, it would have been trying to like roll with the trying to get me to fall in line bit, and my falling in line days are good and over at this point. You know, I love this shirt so much. Paired with the skull leggings today. I really love these earrings too, so I took a picture of those. I need to go on Etsy and leave a review. It's Eclectic Shelf Gifts, I think. At least the Eclectic Shelf is the name of the little shop. I'll tag her in the or I'll put her name in the description of the video. I got a whole bunch of stuff off of her, and oh my god, I love them so much. She was the one that I first ordered the hermit crab earrings with the skull for the crab shell. Those were from the shop. And then she sent me like this little 40% coupon to shop further. And I was going through just finding different earrings that I liked and throwing them in the cart. And, you know, of course, obviously, these went in real quick when I saw them. But then I have like some pandas, elephants, manatees, roller skates with disco balls. I was really excited about those. Oh, that's an interesting place for a semi to go through. Oh, they're going to stock the concession stand, I guess, with Coca-Cola. Goody. But anyway, earrings. Oh, it looks like some asshat pulled into the parking space instead of fucked up car line. Hate it when they fuck up car line. Sometimes there's people parked in these spots, and then it's like it takes up, like there's 3 lanes that file down into one to go around the parking lot to get up by the doors, and they parked in like the first lane, so you know everybody's in the second and third, but you can't see. I mean, you can't really do anything, but they still need that extra line because then the line's way even further back there, and I don't know. Anyway, back to my earrings. Let's go back to the earrings. I got little kittens in like a magic cloak kind of a thing with a little magic wand, and they say pew pew. What else? So when I got the crab earrings, she sent me this little free gift, which was another set of earrings, and they're just like, I don't know, they're like this wide, and they have little flowers in them, and it actually worked with what I wore on Easter to the family thing. What did I wear that day? I don't even remember what I wore, but I remember I was really excited because those earrings went with it perfectly. For the little Easter shindig at my aunt's house. Yeah. But this time around, so she sent me this little 40% discount coupon thing, and then I was like just throwing all these different things in my cart. So of the things that I saw that I liked, so I could really have an idea to have them all in a smaller space, and saw that if you order 10 or more, which, I mean, that's a bit much for earrings, but they were like 55% off. And I had at least that many in the cart, and it's like, I don't need 13. It's like, but I can push to 10. So I got really excited about like all these different things. Oh, I got this little it's a pair of earrings. It's got 3 little baby raptors in a box, and it says free puppies. So that was super cute, and I was like, yep, need those. And then I remember what else I got. Oh, a little the hand within it says punk rock on it, and Medusa. I was excited about those ones too. Thought about pairing those with the shirt, but yeah, we went with Jesus instead because I love these. So yeah, so I got like 10 more pairs after I got this other pair the other day, because then I only saw the crabs. I didn't stop and look at the whole shop. I was just like, I need this in my life. But then I really liked the shop, and then she sent me a discount, and you know, the freebies always make me happy. But then, I got a bunch of stickers for my freebies, and this little like a greeting card that has a blank inside, and it's got like a woman doing something on the outside of it, but yeah, it's cute. But then I also got 2 free pairs of earrings, and one of them I think is a T-Rex skull, and the other's like fake vampire teeth. So those were fun. So I was really excited. But yeah, I saw those first. It's like, I don't remember ordering these ones. It's like, oh yeah, that's because on the card it says free gift. It's like, you didn't order these ones. These were just bonus. It's like, okay, I'll take it. But yeah, I was super excited about the roller skate. Yeah, here's a roller skate. How about this? This used to be an air freshener. Now it's just a bleached out skate, but I love it, so it's not going anywhere. Yeah, but it's kind of like weird, but like with a family friend, like I talk to the wife way more than I talk to the husband anyway. And, you know, because that's my mom's best friend at this point. They've been good friends for a long time. My mom had 2 best friends. This one was one of them. The other one was the one that had a heart attack and died when I was 30. And her son was the bully. Or one of the bullies. So, yeah. It is a little harder to stay, I can't say anything about staying on a single track because I'm not very good at that. I think it's funny, like my little vision the other day where I saw like each of these videos as a side of the lotus petal. I don't know, it's just kind of, I don't remember why I started that. There was a reason, but I just don't know. I kind of feel like you know, as I've cleared out some of like the old stories and done the work to get to this point and to be able to be ready to disconnect from the old timeline, I guess those, like the original stories that I started with, since they were so so much at the forefront back at that time, it feels like it's kind of a blossoming, I guess. Like the older stories, you know, of course, the outer layers of the flowers are the first ones to, you know, kind of open up, right? So it feels like this whole process has been like a sort of blooming, you know, but it's like I'm coming into deeper aspects of myself and like more into the heart space of, you know, who I truly am. and what I'm here to do. But I had to clear the old stuff out of the way first to be able to get to any of it. And I don't know, I just really like that image, that visual. I say I'm a lot here too. I don't really notice it as much when I'm like rewatching the videos before I go to post them, but I feel like I say it a lot throughout the video. And I had a teacher in seminary that said a lot. It's like thought and I had a brief moment of thinking about counting the ums. I did have a teacher that I started doing that with. It was a a music teacher when I was in undergrad, like my first semester. It was like an intro to music or something. I didn't follow that path very long, but that dude, he said it so many times, and I was like counting the ums and the uhs, and it's like, now I'm getting nothing out of this class because now I'm just so preoccupied with those that I'm not paying attention to the content anywhere, where he can muster the content. And then the guy in seminary was like, I'm not even going to try. I thought about it, but it's like, if I start doing that, I'm going to distract myself away from the point of the class, and with a TBI, I could not afford to do that. And the TBI was the thing that made it so I had to start talking to the teachers. Like before, I avoided that at all possible costs. Like when I was over at the high school and the middle school and the elementary school. This elementary school that I'm currently at did not exist until my senior year in high school. And my middle school's back over there. That's actually probably what you can see in the little blip in the back window, but oh well. The horrendous blue ceiling or roof. It used to be dark brown. I don't remember when they painted it blue, but it was always like, that doesn't really look any better. But whatever, it is what it is. Kind of also could go for a nap. But that's not happening because I want to go to class, and there was 222 up there when I said that. Oh, crap, stop saying the ums. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm doing it more. Let's see, what else? What time is it? Okay, check this time. 2:42. And what is that? Newsletter. I don't need that. I could theoretically go 10 more minutes. I could theoretically go 15 more minutes, but at some point they're going to be walking around, so I'll have it done by then. I'm not going to go to the dinner thing tonight. That I know for sure. I don't know if I'm going to take Gracie home or to my home. I don't know. I guess I'll probably take the truck whenever wherever we switch off, because the car is the one, or I mean the car can stay in their garage, it fits. We don't know if the truck would fit. I think that's the bigger snag there. But yeah, if he comes over to pick up the kid, then we'll probably switch it out then, so the truck stays at home tonight, except for when I go to my class. It would be better to drive the truck to class. More reliable about startups. However, we are thankful that we're not going to have a problem with this going forward, at least for the time being. It's not going to be a big issue before they get back anyway. We've been making it work. I don't know anything about cars. I'm not even going to jump into the assumption of what it could be or whatever. Also be a good day to skate, but that's also definitely not happening since I want to go to class. I don't know, I really don't have anything else to talk about that I can think of, since I'm distracted by being here and waiting on the kid, and yeah, just in general being between other cars when I'm doing the thing. I feel like even this is, kind of get me used to the idea of doing these more when people are in my physical space a little bit more. Haven't had to with the family around, because I usually wait till they're out of the house, or I go out of the house to do them. After skating has been working out really well. Again, it kind of helps clear out some of the chaos before I get to that point. But yeah. Third grade's having recess. They're going in to wrap up the end of the day now. Yeah, I don't think Ziva's happy with the way things have been going, and Peppy, I think, is tired of going on walks. I don't think they love walking with the corgi with us. Peppy, she doesn't want to be left at home by herself, but she's like, I'm 13, I don't want to do this. But they've still been going. Ziva, I don't know, she's like, she starts digging like she's trying to get under the mat on the floorboard. It's like, what are you doing? Sometimes she sticks her head out the window and she gets really excited on that. Like, she comes back home doing that. Today she climbed down onto the floorboard again, so it's like, I don't know what's happening. And yesterday when she started doing it, I was wondering if Taz got nippy in the car, because I know he does that periodically, but I'm kind of wondering if it had something to do with the bonus snack that she got, that maybe it doesn't agree with her as well. But I don't know. She will not get any more of those today. She's a big fan of the muff bones. My brother said he thinks he will be back by 5. So I guess the dogs would prefer it if I take the kid home, because then I could, feed them before 5. They like to eat before 4. It's like 3:45 is usually the push for them, is whenever we get there with Gracie. That's the sign that it's dinner time. And yeah, it works better when we get the hour back on daylight savings time, whereas when we go the other way, it's like they're still trying to get up early and trying to rope it around so they get their food whenever they want it. But it's like, as soon as the kid gets there, either way, whether it's earlier or later, then they know it's time. So nice little cutoff we got established, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Do something else tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow's thing will be figuring out the yard work and how that works in with it too. But that just seems weird too, now that I think about it. It's like the connections that are falling away. I talked about that earlier. It's like, it's like now that there's the family friends are coming around to check in, and then like when I'm still remaining disconnected from them, it's kind of like they're like, I can feel them falling away too. Like when I talked to the one friend the other night that was trying to get information from me, and I said, or when she said she was sad that my brother and his family were going to be moving, I said, yeah, but it'll be good for them. And she said, you think? And I said, yeah. And then she said, well, I'm sad for your mom. It's like, she'll be all right. And I just left it at that. But like, after I threw that out there, I think she got the point that I'm not going along with that, not going to go along with feeling sad for my mom losing anything, because my mom's the reason I haven't been able to have my own life. So I don't feel bad about that. I'm ready to get to the stuff that's meant for me, and she was always standing in the way of that. And I don't, there's been a lot of healing, obviously, but it's like I don't feel sad for... There are moments where it's kind of like having to grieve the process again, just because it is an ending, and that is the life that I've known my whole life. But knowing that what's coming is much better for me and what's meant for me, and like it was always like it always felt like there was like this sort of glass ceiling that I couldn't get to the other side of. It's like I know that there are things for me on the other side of this ceiling, and yet I can't get to them. Why? And it's like largely because of this lower level, the lower density level stuff that was just like trying to keep me pulled into it. But we're moving out of that. We're moving beyond that, and it's time to get to the good things. So, yeah, it's like, do I feel bad for my mom? No, not really. Like there's a lot there. I've talked a lot about how when I was in high school, I decided I would never have kids if I couldn't heal from what my mom was making me have to heal from. And it was like because I could always see her living from her wound and projecting onto me because of her wound. So it's like, I don't want to pass that on. I didn't want to perpetuate that cycle. So, then I've been working on the healing aspect of it. And yes, I do feel like I'll probably eventually have kids. But like I've talked about many times, I don't think she'll get to meet them, to be honest. The old life is falling away, and it's like when the door opens, to get to the other side at the ceiling, right? To get to that higher level. But it's like this other stuff's got to stay behind. It doesn't get to go up there. If it's locked into the density, it's not moving into the lighter way of being. So just is what it is. And I mean, that's not mine to have to do any more suffering through or from anymore. It's like I've been releasing that. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because now I'm just jabbering, which is what I do anyway. But whatever, is what it is. As always, I appreciate you. Till next time, see ya.